Welcome to Mrs. Cox's class, and what I'm going to be starting with today is talking about the reviews that I do at the beginning of the school year. So I teach both 7th and 8th grade math, and for 7th grade, what I do is I do a review for about the first 2 weeks of school. So one of the things that I like to do during this 2 weeks is by using the review, it gives me the opportunity to do a bunch of other things. One of the things it allows me to do is it allows me to have time to do any of the district testing that I need to have done. So I get that district testing finished. But it also allows me to just start working on my class procedures and rules in my classroom, again, without it really interfering with the 7th grade lessons. And then it also goes back and it just reminds the students what I want them to be really, really, really good at. So for my first 2 weeks, all of my math is done in Get More Math. So there's no Eureka Math here. There's no Engage New York. It's all just Get More Math as I get students ready. And then the other thing I do is I start off with basic addition for the first day, basic subtraction, basic multiplication, basic division for the first 4 days. So it's just your basic ideas of math. This is also when I time students on their basic facts, 100 math facts in 3 minutes or less, and I tell them by 7th grade, they should be able to do it in 3 minutes or less. And if they can do it in 2 minutes or less, by the end of the year in every single category, then I give them a banana split on the last day of school. So they have something kind of work for, but the idea is that they need to understand that their basic math facts are important. And it's so important, I'm willing to get to buy them a banana split on the last day of school for them to understand and do this math. And so I'll do those as well, and I'll time them all the time. And so I'll time them that week as well. And it'll go in the computer as one of their grades. So they need to make sure they understand that it is important. It is worth 10% of their grade. So it's not going to totally destroy their grade if they don't know their math facts, but the more they know their math facts, the easier it is to keep an A in my class. And then the other thing I do is I also teach them a couple of things that they don't know about basic addition. And I have a rule that I teach them about addition. I have a rule that I teach them about multiplication, and I have a rule that I teach them about division. And if they apply these rules the way that I ask them to, they're going to find out that they can work smarter, not harder. And that's one of the things that I want to make sure that they understand how to do as well. So I do that too. And that does a couple of things. Not only does it start to show them that there are other ways to be thinking mathematically, but it also lets them know that they are going to learn something from me, because sometimes you get really smart kids who come into your classroom and they just assume that they really, really haven't learned anything from the teachers before you. And they just feel like they just learned it because they're smart. And what I want to show them is, no, they're going to actually learn stuff from me. And I'm actually going to teach them something about addition that they didn't even know before they came to me. And that just gets them a little bit more excited that I'm going to be able to help them every day. It also gives tips for kids who struggle, and it gives them a real opportunity and a way to actually engage and do the math in a way that they never could before, because they couldn't do the math well enough. They would get stuck, they would get it wrong, they would get frustrated, they would quit. And this gives them some new skills that allows them to be successful a little bit more often, and start to believe that they can learn math, and that's what we want. So with day one, all it is just basic addition. Okay, so I'm going to actually show you what that assignment actually looks like, that I show my students. So this is a Get More Math assignment, and so again, we just go straight into Get More Math to actually see what we do. And so my first day, basic addition. And so I'm going to go ahead and assign that. And I created this summer school group 1. And it has my review day 1 in here right now. These are the actual problems. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. So if I go to Summer School 2021, 7th grade, here is my beginning of the year review day 1. And that's just what BOY stands for, is just beginning of year. And here's what they're going to be doing. Add decimals positive up to 4 decimal places. So it just reminds them again that they need to, line up their decimals before they add. The next one, add 3 and 4 digits. The next one, add 4 digits. And this is all just basic, pretty simple math and Get More Math. It's just that idea. Now for these students, this is going to be an easy 25 points. And so even though I'm giving them homework on the first day of school, it doesn't feel nearly as stressful, because the homework I'm giving them really isn't that hard, okay? But what I'm actually going to be teaching them is something a little bit different. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach them how to actually add a long column of numbers. And so let me just write some numbers here. So I have this long column of numbers, and when we do math, and we have to do this a lot, especially when we're looking for mean, a median, and mode of a large of a data set, right? We do this a lot. And so one of the things I want to show them is a quicker, smarter, faster way to add. And it all goes with the idea of, hey, we're really good at adding things up to like 9 plus 9, simple, right? It's super easy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to focus on that ability, and then use some notation on here to make sure that the largest number we are going to add this together is 9 plus 9. That will be the largest number we add. And so the way we do this is we just add the first two numbers. 9 plus 2 is 11. So since this goes over 10, I'm going to cross this off, and I'm just going to keep the ones, okay? So what I've done is I've crossed this off. I'm just going to focus on the 1, and I'm going to keep adding as I go straight down. So then I have 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. So I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to cross off that 1, and I'm just going to keep track of the 3. 3 plus 8 is 11. So again, I'm going to cross off that 10 and just keep the 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 7 is 13. So again, I cross that off and just keep the 3. 3 plus 9 is 12. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. And I put down the 1. And then I count how many items I crossed off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we actually added all this up the way you normally add, you would get to 61. You'd put down your 1, you'd carry your 6. But for a lot of kids, they will get lost in that because they don't know 53 plus 7, or they don't know 62 plus 9. And so what it allows them to do is not worry about that. And the largest number we had to add, I think the largest thing we added was, this was a 3 here, I think, or a 2. So it was 2 plus 9. I think that was like our biggest number. So we didn't have anything really large that we had to add all the way down. And then we carry the 6. We do the exact same thing. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 4 is 11. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And then there's a 0, so it's still 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 6 is 14. 4 plus 6 is 10. So then I'll put down the 0, and then I crossed off 1, 2, 3, 4. So I carry a 4. And then I just bring that down. And if you want, you can grab a calculator and you can add this up, and you can see that the answer is 401. And then ask them, how many of you learned to count like that? And no one will. The best strategy that they ever give me, so the most I ever see is kids will say, well, they've been told to look for groups of 10. But notice how messy this is going to be. Okay, so here's 10, and that was the only one in this whole group. And so then all you did was you just skipped over one thing, but again, you're still counting large numbers. Here, there are no 10s, right? And then here, well, I guess if you add all of these, you get 10, and that might be helpful. But again, it starts to get kind of sloppy and in the way, right? What are you going to do when you have a bunch of 10s here? What if there were a bunch of things that were 10? It starts to make it harder and harder to see the numbers as you create this mess over here. This simple, you just cross off every time you hit a 10, and then you keep going, and it's quick. The students can actually get to where they're really, really pretty fast. And so that's what I actually teach them on the first day. And then I will go through the actual video where I'm actually teaching the lesson. So and if you're interested in the lesson paperwork, just leave a mention down in the comments, and I'll talk to you about it. So here are the skill codes. And so I just wanted to go through all the skill codes with you. This first one is adding with decimals, and the skill code is 44010. And the next one is 137011. So that's 137011, and that's this basic addition. So this is a condensed skill. It's just taking 2 other skills. So you can just find it as the condensed version. It's taking the 137020 and 137010. And then the last one is the 137010. So it's just combining a couple skills right there for them to practice. And those are your skills for beginning of the year, day 1. And so that's the end of your review for today. And then now what you're going to actually do is you're actually going to see the lesson that I actually teach the students. These are the workbook pages that I've created where we'll start working on the paper in class, and then they go to their Get More Math. All right, you guys, thank you for being here. Hi, well, this is Mrs. Cox, and I am videotaping my lesson for tomorrow. for the first day of school. But I wanted to go ahead and show you what we're going to be doing. So this is actually what your workbook looks like. And so we're going to be starting with Math Review Day 1. And it follows these pages right here. And don't worry, in a couple of days, I'm going to show you what these pages are used for. But today, we're going to focus on Math Review Day 1. So I don't want you to freak out. This is going to be pretty easy because I just want you to start learning my systems. But I am actually going to teach you 2 things today that you've never known before. And so you're going to walk away already feeling smarter after the first day of 7th grade. And you're going to do it by actually just doing some simple addition. I'm going to switch over to my actual work here, and we're going to start solving these different problems. But I wanted to show you how fun it is and easy it is to actually add a big column of numbers like this in a really fast way. And the way I do it is I don't keep track of tens. I just count until I get double digits, you know, like 9 plus 9. That's about as high as I go because I'm really, really good at that. And, you know, once you get past 27 plus 9 and 52 plus 6 and 72 plus 9, it starts to get really, really hard. So I'm going to show you a really quick, easy way to do it. And the way I do that is I just drop my tens. And here's how I do it. 4 plus 1 is 5, and 5 plus 5 is 10. So it's a 10. So I'm going to cross that off. And now I'm just going to keep the ones, the number in the ones digit, which for a 10 is 0. So I'm just going to keep 0. And 0 plus 6 is 6. 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. Well, that went over 10. So I'm going to cross off the 5, and I'm just going to keep that number in the ones, which was 11, so it's a 1. And I'm going to keep adding. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. So I'm going to cross that off. And again, I'm just going to keep the 0 and keep counting. 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. So I'm going to cross that off. And this time I'm going to go ahead and put the 0 down here. And then I'm going to count how many I actually am going to carry. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to carry 4 tens over. If you added up this whole column, you would actually get to 40, okay? And then 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. So again, I'm going to cross that off, keep the 0. 0 plus 8 is 8, and 8 plus 9 is 17. I'll cross that off. Now I'm going to keep just the 7. 7 plus 2 is 9, and 9 plus 3 is 12. So I'll cross that off, and I'll keep just the 2. 2 plus 3 is 5, and 5 plus 7 is 12. And again, I'm just going to keep the 2. 2 plus 4 is 6, and 6 plus 6 is 12. Again, I'll cross that off. Since I went over 10, I'll put down the 2, and then I'm going to carry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to carry 5. And so if we add all this up, we would actually get 520, okay? And so I'm going to do it again. 1 plus 5, and again, you should be following along with me in your workbook and actually doing the math right along with me, okay? 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 0 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So I'll cross off the 10, keep the 0. 0 plus 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 7 is 12. So I'll cross that off, and now I'm just going to keep the 2. 2 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 7 is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. So I'll cross off the 5. I'll put down the 4, and then I'm going to carry 1, 2, 3. 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. So I'll cross that off, keep the 0. 0 plus 9 is 9. 9 plus 6 is 15. I'll cross it off and keep the 5. 5 plus 8 is 13. So I'll cross that off, and I'll keep the 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. So I'll cross that off and keep the 0. 0 plus 6 is 6. And 6 plus 8 is 14. So I'll cross that off, and I'll put down the 4. And then I'm going to carry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, of course, I'll just bring that 5 down, and I get 544. Now, the next 2 we'll actually do in class together. So again, you'll have 2 more practices in class tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and go to the next one. And the next one is lattice multiplication. And I don't know if you've ever seen lattice multiplication before, but it's just a way to do some multiplication that is just, it's a way to do it that causes you to have fewer mistakes. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to divide each of these squares in half diagonally from the upper right-hand corner to the lower left-hand corner. Now, whenever you're watching my videos, if they're going too fast, you can always stop them and then catch up and then turn them back on. That's totally okay. It's something I want you to get in the habit of doing, okay? Because I know I talk fast. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to multiply. And so what we're going to do is pretend like this is almost like a multiplication table, right? When we see where the 0 and the 1 cross, that's where we're going to put the answer for 0 times 1. And I want you to use this top part as the tens column, and the bottom part is the ones column. So 0 times 1 is 0. So we'll just put a 0 in both spots. And 0 times 8 is 8. So I'm going to put a 0 in the tens and an 8 in the ones. And 1 times 4 is 4. So a 0 in the tens and a 4 in the ones. Then we'll go down to the next one. We're going to do 0 times 6. Well, 0 times 6 is 0. And the next one is 8 times 6. Well, 8 times 6 is 48. So I'm going to put a 4 in the tens and an 8 in the ones. And 4 times 6 is 24. So I'll put a 2 in the tens and a 4 in the ones. And now we're ready for the next part. So what I want you to do is I just want you to redraw your diagonals right here, just creating a straight line. If you have colored pencils, it's always a good idea to switch colors because you can kind of see what's going on, and that's why I do it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add in the diagonals. Well, 0 is just a 0, so that's 0. The next one, 0 plus 0 plus 8, well, that's 8. The next one is 0 plus 8, which is 8, plus 4, which is 12. So across, I'll just keep the 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. And then I carry 1. 1 plus 0 is 1, plus 4 is 5, plus 2 is 7. And that's a 0. And so this is 7,680. And I can go ahead and do the math and see if that's actually true. I want you to believe me, it really does work. Well, 6 times 0 is 0, and 6 times 8 is 48, carry the 4. And 6 times 4 is 24, plus 4 is 28. And we put a 0 in the ones column, and then 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 8 is 8, 1 times 4 is 4. Then we're going to add these, and we get 0 plus 0 is 0, 8 plus 0 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, put down the 6, carry the 1, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 4 is 7, and you see we get the exact same answer. What I want you to see, though, this is actually faster, and you make fewer mistakes, okay, because you're doing all your multiplying first, then you're doing all of your adding. So let's just try another one. First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw in the diagonals. So that's the first step. And then we're just going to do the multiplication. And we're going to treat it like it's a multiplication table. And where the 2 come together, that's where we're going to write the answer. And this part of the square is for the tens. This part of the square is for the ones. 4 times 8 is 32. So we're going to put a 3 in the tens, a 2 in the ones. 9 plus 8 is 72. We'll put a 7 in the tens and a 2 in the ones. And 2 times 8 is 16. We'll put a 1 in the tens and a 6 in the ones. And then anything times 0 is 0. So we know that all of these are 0. And now we're going to go ahead and redraw our diagonals, and then we're going to add. And in this first one, we see that this is a 0, so the answer is 0. Next one, 2 plus 0 plus 0 is 2. 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 0 plus 0, so that's just 5. 7 plus 6 is 13, plus 0 is 3, carry the 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So we end up with this being 23,520. And let's see if that's really true. And I'm going to show you another thing that I do here that I'd like to start seeing you do. When I multiply with a number that has a 0 on the end, I just put it over there on the very edge, and I don't use it. I don't want to have a whole row of zeros all multiplied here. It's one of the reasons why you make mistakes. You get all of your lines out of order. So I just drop my 0, and then I multiply here. 8 times 4 is 32. Put down the 2 and carry the 3. 9 times 8 is 72. Plus 3 is 75. So I'll put down the 5, and I'll carry the 7. And 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 7 is 23. And so you see, we're getting the exact same answer. We'll try one more. Then the other ones we'll do in class together tomorrow. So the first thing you do is you're going to divide each of the squares diagonally. And then we're going to actually do the math. And we're going to treat this like a multiplication table. And where the two numbers meet, that's where we write the answer. This is the tens. This is the ones. 2 times 7 is 14. So we'll put a 1 in the tens, a 4 in the ones. 0 times 7 is 0. And 3 times 7 is 21. So we'll put a 2 in the tens and a 1 in the ones. 2 times 5 is 10, so we'll put a 1 in the tens and a 0 in the ones. 0 times 5 is 0. And 3 times 5 is 15. A 1 in the tens, a 5 in the ones. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to redraw our diagonals now, going all the way down. And we'll add those up. So we have a 0 here. And then we have 4 plus 1 is 5 plus 0 is 5. And we have 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 5 is 6. 0 plus 1 plus 1 is 2. And a 2. So we see that this answer is 22,650. So don't forget, thank you so much for being here in my classroom today. And if you like this, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.